Are you the next Alexander McQueen? No. And here's why. Hello, I'm Tom Rasmussen, musician, ex-fashion writer, and continued McQueen obsessive. Like most gay people, when I think about fashion, I think about him and my other personal design hero, Raf Simons. But here we are to do McQueen. And how lucky we are to do McQueen. Because factually, you could argue he is one of, if not the best, to ever do it in fashion. And what's even more compelling about McQueen were the circumstances from which he came. So when the V&A asked me what I wanted to talk about, it was either going to be modular synths, underrated female musicians, trade unions, or Alexander McQueen. And since McQueen loved the V&A, and the V&A loves McQueen, and together, Savage Beauty, the exhibition of his life's work, has been seen by over 1 million people in London and New York, it felt only right.
It's so big, but it's the sort of place I'd like to be shut in overnight with no tourists around. Oh, sorry.
I'm an artist, I'm queer, and I'm from a working class background, just like Mr. Lee Alexander McQueen. But of course, I am nowhere near as successful or as rich as he was. Money comes with its challenges and inhumanities, but when I got to thinking about what I'd want to ask of McQueen's story today, I decided I wanted to work out if it would be possible to have an Alexander McQueen today in 2026. First of all, I think we should start by looking at who McQueen was and what he did for anyone who doesn't know. McQueen was a working class boy, born within the sound of the Bow Bells. In 1969, the year of his birth, being born inside that aura radius meant you were pretty working class. McQueen's dad was a taxi driver and his mum was a teacher, and he grew up with his 3 sisters in a terrace house in Stratford, right here on Biggerstaff Road. He spent loads of his time draping and sewing dresses for his sisters, and when the time came for McQueen to start thinking about work after leaving school with just 1 O-level, he began an apprenticeship on Savile Row. Now, do I need to explain what Savile Row is? Okay, let me try. Savile Row is a street in London which trains tailors in the highest craft and skill to really make a garment. Imagine Sheen, and then imagine the complete opposite. For a long time, being a tailor was a working man's profession. On Savile Row, McQueen learned crucial skills that would carry him throughout his whole career. Skills like draping, pattern cutting, and the impossibly hard art of tailoring, which he was so good at.
For me, my basis for anything I do is based on a craftsmanship, be it tailoring, be it woodwork, or be it anything else, you know. I try to involve a lot of handcrafted things.
But crucially, it was here he also crafted his imagination, seeing all the things that clothes were and all the things that clothes could be. With his experience and his mind, McQueen scored a place at CSM under the impossibly chic and oftentimes brutal guidance of Professor Louise Wilson. She loved McQueen. She called him a true visionary in everything he did. From the off, he was breaking rules because, like a lot of working class people who went to places full of codes and conduct, he didn't care for them, and he had nothing to lose, but everything to gain. It's the 90s, and everything is fab. Everyone is drunk and high and going mad, and Ibiza is still really, really chic. And social media didn't exist. Hi, from inside your phone. Crucially, in 1990, it was free to go to university, and there were a bunch of grants that McQueen got in order to buy fabrics and things like that. The other thing about working class people from first-hand experience is that we're pretty good at finding things where we need them. On the street, in mum's wardrobe, shoplifting things occasionally. London was cheap then, especially East London, which is where McQueen and his genius posse of mates spent time making amazing, mad stuff. When McQueen finally presented his grad collection, Jack the Ripper Stalks His Victims, Isabella, a Vogue, Times, total fashion legend status, and unparalleled hat heartthrob, bought his whole collection and went everywhere talking about him. In his next collection, Taxi Driver, McQueen created the bumster, low-rise pants with the arse crack visible, a brand new silhouette on the scene, which apparently only 6 designers have done in history. I might have made that number up, but it's kind of that vibe. In the 36 collections McQueen made in his lifetime, he saw the future in robots and holograms. He made metal yashmaks and David Bowie's jackets. He explored mental health and madness, and he staged a show underneath a golden shower, if you get me. In some of his collections in the mid-90s, he sewed locks of his hair into the garments in order to really give himself to the clothes, which the archivist from V&A confirms are still intact, at least in the pieces that are held by the museum. A snowball became a bigger snowball, became an avalanche. And in only 4 years after graduation, McQueen was already renowned as one of the world's most innovative designers. Which of course he was. Controversy king, with shows about mad women, golden showers.
It's mainly to do with the end result as an image, and hopefully a lasting image. You know, I don't like throwaway images. I like things to be stuck in the mind of people. And maybe that's why my work can sometimes come across as aggressive or violent, because today maybe the world to me is a bit violent.
He faced criticism, he pushed and pulled, he shocked and scandalized, and yet everyone agreed he could cut a damn jacket. The ideas were genius, the clothes even better. He went to Givenchy, which was a little rocky, although I love, and then he came back to McQueen. McQueen's mark on the worlds of fashion, art, craft, tailoring, music, and the public imagination will continue to change the minds and hearts of people until we're wiped out by AI.
What on earth are you doing? It's 2 a.m.
Or a nuclear detonation by a trigger-happy man in a position of power. So to recap, McQueen grew up poor, like a lot of people do today, but he had access to that apprenticeship on Savile Row, which is still possible. Since the launch of the Savile Row Bespoke Association apprenticeship in 2007, over 100 young people have graduated and gone on to work in high-level bespoke tailoring. So it's kind of good. Average rent in London at the time was between £36 and £150 a week, with the similar or the same costing £500 to £900 per week now, so that's less good. The direction of travel was different then too, before social media. McQueen was catapulted to a sort of broadcaster position, which meant he would speak and critics and fans would respond. Now we're encouraged to sort of be here all the time, working out how to cut through on social media, to hear everyone. If you can make it through without being checked and corrected, which a lot of the time is crucial, and let's be real, sometimes McQueen needed, and retain your artistry, then perhaps a singular artist vision would be possible to maintain. Capitalism is raging now. It was hardcore then, and lest we forget, McQueen commercially flopped at Givenchy and was ousted, kinda. It was certainly easier to be an artist financially back then, let alone a working class artist. Just recently, the Tory party said if it regains power, it's gonna curb hundreds of arts degrees because they don't create enough employment opportunities. This all sounds quite disheartening, especially if you're watching this as a working class artist. And as a working class artist, I can tell you I am in constant work and I struggle to make ends meet every month. Feels almost too obvious to say that a McQueen probably couldn't exist today. The context that created him is sort of gone, and people's fears of new ideas, of conflict, of criticism is set against this backdrop of hyper-commercialism and a bloated artistic and financial centre of total, utter mediocrity, one which is terrified of real agitation, change or radicalism.
I think you just got to have a bit of an open mind, not be so judgmental. I think just educate yourself into the world of Alexander McQueen.
People don't want to see clothes, they want to see something that fuels the imagination, said McQueen. What's crucial is that McQueen did not give up on his imagination, on his vision, and that can remain today. Look at designers like Charles Jeffrey, Martine Rose, or up-and-comers like TJ Finlay and Daniel Devalier. They're not McQueen, but thank God in a way. Yes, we may not ever have another McQueen, but we also don't really need one. We need, however, a you with that crucial quality that he had: truth, innovation, imagination, personality, criticism, and skill. Those things remain, and those things exist in abundance in our society today. What made McQueen so brilliant is that he was a contemporary artist. He swirled the past, the present, and the future, fears and obsessions into his work, which made it feel totally cutting edge. All of these things, including just how hard it is to be a working class artist today, make the artist. Yes, it's not easy being a poor artist. It never has been. But hold on, my good poor Judy. I believe in you. And I'm saying that to myself. And that's me for RabbitHole.